8 women, 1 race, and in 60 seconds, European history gets written. This is the 200 meters women's final at the European Athletics Championships in Roma. Look at them, focused, locked in, breathing through nerves that most of us will never know. Daryll Neita, Great Britain's lane 8, arms out to the crowd like she owns this stadium. Muijinga Kambundji, Switzerland's most dangerous weapon on the curve. Jael Bestouet, bringing Spain's fire into lane 9. And Stadio, the Netherlands, fists pumping, ready to run through a wall. The floodlights are blazing over the Stadio Olimpico. The crowd is electric, and somewhere on this track tonight, a champion is about to be born. Do you know who it is? You're about to find out. In lane 2, Poloniki Emanuelidou of Greece, the European Under-23 Championship medalist who clocked a personal best of 22.84 to earn her spot in this final, and will be looking to make her country proud tonight. Lane 3, Helene Parisot of France. She qualified 5th overall with a personal best of 22.63 seconds. Lane 4, Julia Henriksson of Sweden, the first Swede in this final in 46 years, who equaled the national record of 22.82 to get here. Lane 5, Stadio of the Netherlands. She posted a season's best of 22.90 and came through as the 3rd fastest qualifier to line up in the heart of this field. Lane 6, Muijinga Kambundji of Switzerland, the defending champion, the fastest woman in this field, and the one every other athlete has circled on their radar. Lane 7, Henriette Jaeger of Norway, just 20 years old and the first Norwegian woman in this final for 78 years, having qualified with a time of 22.71 seconds. Lane 8, Daryll Neita of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, the fastest qualifier in this field with 22.51 seconds, an Olympian who knows exactly how to perform on the biggest stages. And in lane 9, Jael Bestouet of Spain. She came through as the 6th fastest qualifier with a personal best of 22.93, and with the home crowd energy of this Italian night absolutely fueling every athlete on this track. And here we are, the final event of a stunning evening at the Stadio Olimpico. 8 women who have earned every inch of this moment. The defending champion in lane 6, the fastest qualifier in lane 8, a teenager making history in lane 7. This is not a race for the faint-hearted. The blocks are set, the crowd is holding its breath, and the tension inside this stadium is something else entirely. You can feel it. That stillness before everything explodes. 22 seconds, give or take, stand between these athletes and a European title. Roma is ready. Are you? They're off. Clean start. Kambundji fires out of lane 6 and she is already moving. Kambundji blasting around the bend, aggressive, dominant, running away from this field. Neita charging in lane 8, closing fast. Into the straight, and it is those two, side by side. This is a photo finish. Kambundji wins. Muijinga. Kambundji of Switzerland defends her European title, 22.49 seconds, a season's best. Neita takes silver in 22.50, Parisot bronze. 22.49 for Kambundji, and 22.50 for Daryll Neita, 100th of a second, 1 single hundredth. And Helene Parisot of France runs 22.63 for a lifetime best, and a bronze medal. What a performance from the French athlete in lane 3. You can see Daryll Neita shaking her head. She gave absolutely everything, and for a moment it looked like she had snatched it at the line. 1/100th of a second is the difference between gold and silver, and that margin is real. It is measurable, and it belongs to Kambundji. Muijinga. Kambundji is the European champion. Again. She led this race for almost every single meter, and when Neita came charging back in the final straight, Kambundji had just enough. The lean at the line, the drive through the tape, she fought for every thousandth of a second and she got it. The Swiss flag is out, the crowd is going absolutely wild, and Kambundji is soaking in every single moment of this. Back-to-back European titles in the 200 meters, that is a class act. Watch the replay and look at Kambundji's bend. This is where the race was decided. From the gun, she reacts cleanly and drives hard into full stride immediately. Through the first 50 meters, she builds faster than anyone in this field, and by the time she hits the curve, she's already out front and rocking. Look at how wide she runs in her lane, squeezing every fraction out of that bend. Neita in lane 8 runs a brilliant race too, charging the straight hard and pulling right up to Kambundji's shoulder in the final 30 meters. In slow motion, watch the lean at the line. Kambundji's torso dips forward at exactly the right moment. The margin is 0.01 of a second, and she earned every last bit of it. Neita ran 22.50 and equaled her season's best. Phenomenal running, and on another night that takes gold. But Kambundji built this career race by race, and she is now back-to-back European champion. And spare a huge moment for Helene Parisot. Bronze from lane 3 is not something you see every day. The lanes reflect semifinal rankings, and Parisot ran the race of her life to nail that medal. Kambundji has been a fixture on the Diamond League circuit for years, building steadily, winning big races later than most. And here she is, a back-to-back European champion. 22.49. What a night. What a race. What a champion. Kambundji didn't win this race at the finish line. She won it on the bend, somewhere between 80 and 130 meters, where she opened a gap that Neita spent the entire straight trying to close. That's the story of this final. Not the photo finish, not the 0.01 margin. The story is that a Swiss sprinter ran a bend so aggressively, so technically controlled at full speed, that the fastest qualifier in the field couldn't reel her back in. Watch Kambundji through the curve. She stays wide in her lane, which keeps her radius cleaner and reduces the energy bleed that tighter inside runners pay. Her arm carriage stays compact. Her hips don't drop. Most 200-meter runners have a transition point around 120 meters where you see a slight mechanical shift as they move from curve to straight, a reorganization. Kambundji barely has one. She flows into the straight already upright, already at top velocity, and Neita is a full body length back at that point. Neita ran a textbook anchor leg style charge down the straight, closing hard, and she got it to 0.01. But you can't spot someone that kind of gap at 150 meters and expect to win. Not at this level. Neita's 22.50 deserves serious credit, not consolation. That's a time that wins most European finals. It equaled her season's best, and it came in a race she ran correctly. She didn't panic on the bend, she didn't force it. She ran her own race and came up 1/100th short against a defending champion who had lane 6 and used every centimeter of it. The silver is a result she can build on, not one she needs to explain. The real surprise in the results is Helene Parisot. Lane 3 in a 200 final is a disadvantage. You're inside the stagger, you can't see the field developing, and you're running a tighter curve. Parisot ran 22.63, a lifetime best, and took bronze from a lane that rarely produces medals at this distance in major championships. That's a 22.6 from a French sprinter who didn't look like a podium threat coming in. She's worth watching. Jaeger finished 5th, but her 22.83 as a 20-year-old Norwegian is significant. Norway hasn't had a woman in this final for 78 years. She didn't just show up, she competed. Henriksen ran 22.91 from lane 4 but struggled with the transition, fading in the final 30 meters. Gia and Emmanuel were never really in contention for medals, both finishing in the 22.8 OAS and 22.9 OAS. Kambundji is 31. That's worth sitting with for a moment. She didn't win her first major title until her late 20s. She's been a consistent Diamond League presence for a decade, finishing in finals, occasionally on podiums, never quite at the summit. Then she won the European title in Munich in 2022, and now she's defended it in Rome. back-to-back European 200-meter champion, the only Swiss woman to do it. She ran 22.49 here, which puts her in a group of perhaps 6 or 7 women in European history who've broken 22.5 on a legal win at a major championships. The comparison that keeps coming up is Merline Otte, not in terms of era, but in terms of late career dominance achieved through technical refinement rather than raw youth. Kambundji isn't faster than she was at 25. She's smarter. The bend in Rome was a masterclass in running within yourself while still running at the edge of your capacity. Paris is 12 months away. Kambundji will be 32 at the Olympics. The question isn't whether she can get there. She'll get there. The question is whether she can close the gap to the Jamaican and American women who run 21.8 and 21.9. Her 22.49 tonight puts her in contention for an Olympic final. A medal is a different conversation. But after tonight, you don't dismiss her. Not anymore.